Hello, this is Phil. Let's talk about Oppenheimer for the third time in IMAX, sitting in the upper seats. I was in seat I-13, row I, which was like, I want to say, the fifth row up from the middle. Like 10 rows up from the beginning of the theater. There were 5 rows, then there was that walking row, and then there were 5 more rows. And I was like the 4th one up. There was like 1 more row behind me. And I was off a little bit to the right side. And I gotta say, I get it. I'd never been to IMAX before. The first time I went to Oppenheimer was the first time I went to IMAX. And I screwed up royal. I mean, I've sat down in the front. I've always been one of these people that when I'm at a theater and I'm watching a movie, I just want to kind of fall into the movie. I don't want to see people. I don't want to see, heads bobbing around or, people talking or just. I just want to be like, buried in the movie. So I usually sit in the middle at the front. And IMAX, you can't do that. IMAX, you got to sit in the back, in the middle, up about in the middle is the best seat. But I sat off a little bit. I was in the second most upper row, and I sat off to the right a little bit, and I had a fantastic experience. And the reason I'm wearing these is this is how I watched that whole movie, is with these on. And I heard everything as clear as day. And when, I don't know if I got sensitive ears, but it was loud as hell again. And I've seen online that some theaters, apparently they've responded to the complaints and are turning the sound down. And I would say, don't do that. Don't do that. That's not how the movie was brought out. The movie was brought out to be loud, and it does have reasons for that. It does give you a visceral and all-over body experience at times when Oppenheimer's thinking about the universe and just the power of the universe, because that's what the atomic bomb's about. It's about power. The movie was excellent again. I just really liked it. And would I go to IMAX again? Yeah, I would. But I want to see a good movie. Oppenheimer has proved itself twice before to be an excellent movie, and this time was no exception. It was an excellent movie again. And I think it's because it's an adult movie for adults, about adult themes, and about something that's very serious that actually formed the world we live in today. And the amazing thing to me is it's so perfectly paced. I mean, if people like to think that all these people who worked on the atomic bomb were little military soldiers that everybody jumped on board and they came on with the program for the big win, But that's not how it worked out. It was all civilians, for the most part. And they all worked together because they had a common foe. And the common foe was the Nazis. But there was another foe that the American military was fighting, and that was the Japanese. And no matter what you hear about the atomic bomb, the fact of the matter is the Japanese in 1945 were not going to give up. They would have gladly ran at American troops with sharpened sticks and died for their families and been proud of it. And there is I have to say this: the people today who act like apologists for the 1945 Japanese insult the 1945 Japanese, because there is a commitment in that to your family, to your nation, that these people will never understand. Now, I'm not saying it's great that the Japanese from 1934, I guess it is, to 1945 went across China and the Philippines and all these other countries and they just massacred people, man. They were not pussies, is what I'm trying to tell you. They were the real deal. They were completely committed to victory, and they didn't give a shit what you thought about it. And they didn't care about you, they didn't care about your family, they didn't care about your babies. They looked at everybody other than the Japanese as inferior beings, deserving of dying. And that was something that the Germans and them had in common. The Nazis, not the Germans, the Nazis. Very important for people to differentiate between Nazis and Germans. I mean, there was an intoxication with the Nazis, but as soon as the Nazis got into enough power, either you were a Nazi or you were dead. The Japanese never had that problem. The Japanese society has always been a feudalistic society based on the honor of family and the honor of serving the master you're serving at the time. Serving the emperor was a divine duty of every Japanese person. So when those 2 atomic bombs got dropped and the emperor came out of his palace and he went on the radio for the first time and he talked directly to the Japanese people, this had never happened before. They viewed the emperor as a divine being, and for him, you might hear him talk to you, but it would be the last time you would hear him talk to you, unless you were part of the military hierarchy. You had to be part of the upper part of society. But for the emperor to come out and say to all the Japanese people, the enemy has found a powerful weapon that we have no response for, and we must bear the unbearable and surrender so that Japan can live into the future. That was completely against what all of the Japanese people have been taught. And that only happened because the 2 atomic bombs got dropped. So that's a fact. I mean, there was potentially a million American soldiers saved because the Japanese were badass. They would have put traps everywhere. They would have fought guerrilla actions against our troops. They would have done every conceivable method of attacking our troops, and they would have been devastated. Now, in response, we would have probably we would have lost 1 million troops. They would have lost about 4 to 6 million Japanese citizens. So you're talking about 7 million lives that were saved by the dropping of 2 atomic bombs. So that's where the importance of Oppenheimer comes from. Anyway, getting back to the movie, I really, with these on, I didn't have any fear of the sound, and the sound was loud. It was so loud in some ports. Even with these on, I could feel it. I could feel it in my skin, you know. But because the second time I went to the theater, in the standard theater, and I wore these, I was taking them off and putting them on, taking them off. And this time I said, you know what, screw that. I'm just gonna sit in IMAX, and I'm gonna keep them on, and I'm not gonna take them off and on. And that's what I did. And just like before, the pre-roll, the previews were loud, and the movie was loud. I might be being loud to you right now because my modulation when I'm speaking with these on is sort of off. But it was very enjoyable. The third time was very enjoyable. I really appreciate Christopher Nolan shooting this in IMAX. I think this might be one of the very few movies that I see in IMAX, but now that I know how to view IMAX, which is forget the front rows, sit in the back seats. The theater I was in today, nobody was sitting in the front 5 rows, and that's a problem because the theater was about, I would say, quarter full, maybe a third full. But so they were making money, but not the kind of money they want to make. But if you're going to an IMAX movie, buy your ticket early and try to get your ticket in the middle of the hill behind the low seats that are close to the screen. You don't want to be close to the screen. I played that game, man. I was almost deafened. I swear, I almost left. I said, this is crazy. This is so damn loud. I got concerned when the pre-roll was going on because all the sound was coming out of one speaker behind my head. And I was like, well, what the hell's going on here? But when the movie started, we got the 5.1 Dolby going, and all the speakers fired up, and it sounded great. And I mean, seeing this thing on a drive-in sized screen was amazing. It was a drive-in sized screen. It's like I was sitting in my car, you know, with my girlfriend or with my wife, or my girlfriend and my wife, watching the movie. I'd never do that, you know. My girlfriend before she was my wife. How about that? But it was very enjoyable for the 3rd time. Thank you to Christopher Nolan for shooting it in IMAX. I get it now. I understand why people love IMAX. Was it worth it? You know what? For this movie, yeah, it was worth it. Yeah. I mean, would I want to see Jurassic World on IMAX in that? I don't know, you know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you might want to see whatever movie you're going to see on the standard screen and check it out and then go, okay, this is good enough to see on IMAX. Now, Dune 2's coming out, and Dune 2 looks exciting, but the thing that pisses me off most of all is I didn't see Dune 1 on IMAX. So it would be nice if they would shoot a double feature and, you know, charge people, you know, say it would be $17 to see this one and $17 to see this one. That's probably 2.5 hours each movie. So that's 5 hours of movies. Please put an intermission in there. But I had fun. It was fun. Very definitely worth seeing Oppenheimer for the 3rd time. Very definitely thank you to all the actors and actresses who was in this movie, and the writers, and the cinematographers, and the people who worked on staff to help everybody get to and from, and the grip boys and the grip girls. I'm talking about, listen, these kind of productions, the reason they're so expensive is because they take hundreds, even thousands of people to get them done. And all along the way, all it takes is for one person to make a misstep, and then you get an actor who's distracted, or a set that doesn't look right, or, you know, this or that. So, very enjoyable. Christopher Nolan, man, you knocked it out of the park. All you actors and actresses, all you co-directors and co-writers and cinematographers and camera shooters and IMAX people and the film development crew and the grip boys and grip girls and the food people and the caterers and the transport people, and I mean, it's thousands of people to do this and to get it right, and Oppenheimer got it right, so you should be real happy. I think it's going to sweep the Oscars. Shout out to Josh Hartnett too. He was really good. Also, everybody was great in this movie. It's a very strange movie. It's a very strange movie. It's just a very strange movie because I don't see a weak performance in any of it. I mean, I could probably pick some things, but I'm not picking it. I just enjoyed it, and that's all I want to pass on. Oppenheimer in IMAX, seen from the back seats up at the row I-13, which maybe you want to get I-6, I guess, which is in the center, or down to what is it? Maybe the K6, but it was awesome, and I enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Please go see Oppenheimer. Please take something like this with you. Take the earplugs if you got them. Take these with you. You may not feel that it's loud enough for that, but if you have them, at least you have them. I wore these through the whole movie, and I loved it. And I don't want them to turn it down. I don't want them to turn it down because the sound, and I got this time when I watched it, and it's like I said, somebody else said this on YouTube, said, I've got to see it again because I missed so much. I didn't miss so much. But every time I've seen it, I have collected more information about things I like. And I see the point about the soundtrack in this version of it. The soundtrack in this is pretty damn amazing because it definitely does feed into the plot. It feeds into the performances. They do a great job of emphasizing certain parts and certain bits of information that they want you to pay attention to because it's very important to Oppenheimer's brain, the way that he is thinking. And just a great movie. Probably a once in a 20-year movie. So go see Oppenheimer if you haven't seen it yet. Take your hearing protection with you. If you want to buy the popcorn and the Coke, buy the popcorn and the Coke. I mean, I'm on a 5-day fast right now, and I want to tell you, it killed me. It absolutely killed me. Sitting in that theater, I had a guy. I got lucky because people sat behind me with no popcorn. People sat in front of me with drinks. People sat down below me and drinks. But this... What's that? Uh-oh. Hold on. Alright, well, this is Phil back again. Look, that was a good friend of mine. There's like only like 2-3 people in the whole world that I even talk to that call me on a regular basis, and that was one of them. He's having a great day. Invited me to go fishing, but I got to get some tires tomorrow, so it is what it is. But Oppenheimer in IMAX is amazing, and it's amazing if you do it right. And to do it right, what you want to do is, from my standpoint, put the hearing protection on and sit in the middle of the upper back rows. Do not sit anywhere near the front. And it was another awesome experience. So I want to thank Christopher Nolan for shooting it in IMAX and for everybody who worked on this film. And I absolutely encourage you to go see it. See it knowing what IMAX is about and sit in the middle of the back rows if you can get there. One thing I did notice was it would not let me put one seat between me and the person next to me. I'd have to put 2 seats, which is what I did. And I think that's so that people can, you know, get a seat for them and a seat for their significant other or for their friend. And they're figuring that 2 people will come to see any movie. So they want to have at least a 2-seat space between you, if you're single, and somebody else, which I don't mind. That was fun. So, 3rd time's a charm. I saw it. I loved it. Nothing was old. That's what really surprised me. Nothing was old. And just a tour de force movie. Very unusual. Go see it. Oppenheimer and IMAX. Take your hearing protection. God bless you, folks.